You could be a whole ray of sunshine, but someone won't like you because they're like rain. So you can't, I know.
Sorry, that is so inspirational. So basically, we're going to be starting a book of quotes that Elise says. Available for sale.
In quotations, Elise Hannah. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Coffee Shop Podcast.
This week we're going to talk all things imposter syndrome, aren't we?
Yeah, someone's wrote in and they've said they personally suffer with it a lot. And when we touched on it in our first episode, they asked if we would talk a bit about it, really.
Yeah, quite a few people mentioned it, didn't they? It seemed to be like a really, really popular topic. So basically, someone that messaged us last week said it would be something interesting for us to talk about because it also it's not something that just occurs purely in business. It happens in every single job, not even in just jobs, in hobbies, in clubs that you go to after work, in the gym, if you're still at school, it can happen in college. It's endless,
we didn't realise how many people it affects.
Yeah.
We thought we've discussed it between us, like how we feel about it. And when someone else said it to us, we were like, wow, this is obviously a topic that people can relate to.
Yeah.
And we wanted to share how it affects us. We'll discuss what people have spoke about themselves.
Yeah, and also, it's probably worth mentioning, before I had the coffee shop, I didn't even really know, but I didn't know it was a term. I did not know what it was.
Yeah.
So it's actually really, really useful, and I know somebody else has touched on this that's messaged us, that there is actually a term for it, if you know what I mean. Like, it makes sense, and you can, I suppose when you know there's a term for something, you can then
be like, wow, it is normal to feel this
I'm
way.
not out here alone.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So are we going to go straight in with the first message, or do you want to touch on how we maybe dealt with it a little bit in our businesses?
Well, why don't we go with what someone else has said, and we'll be able to relate with
jump in.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Perfect. So our first anonymous message came on Instagram. So do you want me to go?
Yeah, go for it.
So somebody put, yes, major imposter syndrome when I started my first job as a scientist. But now I've been in this field for years and seeing new graduates coming in who are in the same situation. I find that those who have imposter syndrome are more competent at their job because they lack a little bit of self-confidence. So therefore, they double check everything to make sure they're doing it correctly. Not always a bad thing. P.S. Loving the podcast. So I think that is so true.
Yeah.
And I know it's something that we discussed before, where we actually said that in our heads, we're always like, imposter syndrome, it's such a bad thing. It's a negative, it's got like negative connotations.
Yeah.
But actually, and I know you actually said this to me, is it a bad thing? Because exactly like this person has said, because you're double checking yourself all the time, and I think it probably goes hand in hand with how it's like your little confidence you have in yourself. You're so worried about doing a perfect job and double checking everything and making sure anything you do is to 100% brilliant standard.
Yeah.
Is that actually a bad thing?
It's like when we first started this and we wanted to do the podcast, it's something we've wanted to do since we were in uni, isn't it? And we were like, who do we think we are? But
what are people going to say?
Yeah,
why are we doing it?
Yeah, like, who are they going to think, these two girls from the Northeast starting a podcast? But why can't we? But in our heads, we have that almost...
Yeah, and I think as well, I don't even think you'll mind me saying, like, when our first episode went out, we were half being like, I mean, half of it's obviously like a bit of banter.
Yeah.
We were like, are we top of the podcast charts yet?
Are we number one?
But I think subconsciously, like, you put that pressure on yourself because obviously
it's not going to happen.
No, and it's also in a social media world where all we see are these people that do these podcasts that get thousands, millions of views and listeners per episode.
You can't help but compare yourself.
No, and then you listen to our little episodes and we're like, oh, here we are laughing and we're so nervous.
Yeah.
We're trying to do it all ourselves and... you're exactly right. Like, it's like we've seen it firsthand from doing this, let alone on our businesses.
Yeah. And with everything, it just comes in time with confidence. It's all about how you believe in yourself. And if you are someone who does doubt yourself, then imposter syndrome is naturally going to come to you because you're trying to make a career, you're trying to start that job, start that goal.
Yeah.
And in your head, you've got something nagging at you saying, should you be doing this?
You're not worthy to do this.
Do you deserve to be doing this? Who do you think you are?
It does come down a little bit to just being a bit nicer to yourself.
Yeah.
And I know, like, honestly, like I said, until I did this coffee shop, I didn't even know what the term was. But I 100% I knew the feeling.
It's like when you watch those videos and the mum is teaching the kids like words of affirmation towards themselves.
Yes.
But we don't do it to ourselves.
No.
It's like we want other people to believe in themselves.
Yeah.
But to ourselves it's so hard.
Yeah. Do you know what? This is a bit of a side note. Here I go off a tangent. But I actually saw, I think it was like going viral last night. And I think it was Bella and Gigi Hadid had shared this literally like a note. It was like a photo of like a notes page on your iPhone. And it was basically like compliments that you can give someone that are nothing to do with appearance.
Yeah.
So did you see it last night?
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't know. It was like, I can't even really think of an example.
I read it, so it would be like,
I really love how you like approach that situation, or like the positive energy that you brought into that. Like things like that. I think it's all down to your confidence, your self-belief, your self-worth.
And giving it to yourself and telling yourself that you can do it. You are worthy of doing it. If something doesn't go successful, so what? You've given it a go.
You
still
have as much right as anybody to launch a podcast or to start a business or to be a scientist,
to go to university, to do that hobby that you've always wanted to do.
I know, like before when we were just sitting down, really, we were saying that even when you're in the gym, and you know, you might be new. Like I know for me, I've recently started going, and it's so daunting. Like it is really daunting. I put my headphones in and I try to act like I'm not bothered, but inside I'm like, oh my God, I just hope no one's looking. But it is, and it's really easy to feel like, God, I shouldn't be here.
And you're looking at other people thinking, oh, God, they'll be watching me thinking, what is she doing?
And they've got their protein shake, and you just think, God, I literally have no clue what I'm doing.
Nobody cares.
No.
You know what?
And you have just as much of a right to be in that gym. You've paid your membership. You have just as much of a right to be in there doing your own little workout than somebody that goes every day and that probably is like a
when I do spiral into these thoughts and I'm telling myself, I always say, how often do you think of other people?
Yeah.
It sounds bad, but you don't really. You focus on your life.
In their own lane, doing their own
little bubble. No one's bothered about you.
Yeah. But I think that's come, I don't know whether the same for you really, but for me that's definitely come as I've got older.
Yeah.
I will openly say when I was sort of late teens, like probably 17 to 20, I was obsessed. I was like, God, I was paranoid that if somebody didn't like me. And I just
People please.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think as you get older, you learn you can't please everybody. And as long as them people that are closest around you are happy and content and you've got lovely relationships with them people, then everybody else, you know, and like you said, like, are they actually bothered about what I'm doing? No, they're probably not.
I posted this on my Instagram the other day, but it was something like you could be a whole ray of sunshine, but someone won't like you because they're like rain. So you can't, I know.
Sorry, that is so inspirational. So basically we're going to be starting a book of quotes that Elise says. Available for sale.
In quotations, Elise Hannah.
You're like, on my coffee table at home, I've got the Michelle Obama, like words of inspirational words or something. And like this time next year, it's going to be inspirational words.
This is
Elise Hannah.
Yeah, this is the next one. Live, laugh, love.
Dance like nobody is watching.
Dance in the rain.
What is it? It's not about learning to dance in the rain. What is that one? It's not about something in the rain. It's about learning to dance in the storm. I don't know. It would have been a lot smoother if you knew it.
But should we go on the next one?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
So this is a good one. Somebody else said it about being a business owner and receiving money and knowing what to charge and feeling like you can charge what you are worth.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally experience this a lot, and I know a lot of other people who are creative, because it's you that is making that design and it's you that's putting it out there.
I suppose you could say it's when it's a very subjective industry. So, you know, like for me, it's a coffee. It's quite objective. You literally can see it. It's going to look the same time and time again. But for you, it's very subjective. Like, I might think, oh my God, that is stunning. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. But to the next person, they might be like, oh no, like that's actually not my cup of tea.
Yeah. It's so subjective, honestly. And at the beginning, when I did start, I would find myself bringing my prices down to try and fit people's budget. And I'd be doing these setups, spending hours and making absolutely nothing because I felt like I couldn't charge what I needed to charge.
Yeah, it's so true.
And now people are coming in and obviously I have a unit I have to pay for. I have people who work for me that I have to pay for. I have a lot of overheads. Like
even just your petrol getting to the
petrol,
venue wherever
and
you
that's
go
gone
in.
up. Everything's gone up. Balloon stock, that's gone up.
And you
Buying
also,
your
as well,
props.
you have to pay yourself. Like, you are trying to also make a living out of this business.
Yeah, and sometimes I need to remind myself that. And it's probably only just till now that it has got to that point, really, because I was just so nervous and thinking, God, they'll be thinking, how is she charging that much
Who does
money?
she think she is?
Again, can I charge that much money? But at the end of the day, I know how hard I work, and I know the long hours I spend on it, going through at midnight to collect things, going back at 6 a.m. in the morning, and it's hard work, and I need to remember that I need to charge what I charge. And if you are in the creative industry and you find it is a struggle as well, I'm sure a lot of people will relate to that.
So how do you deal with it? Do you have like a set price list now and then that's just it?
So I have a set price list. It's more like the balloons and things that obviously vary. And I've had people say to me, well, I'm not paying that for balloons. I'm like, well, that's fine. Like,
you
if
don't
you
have
don't
to,
want to, don't like feel
you
like
don't
you
have to book me.
100%. You don't have to at all. Obviously, I appreciate every single person that does book in for me, but sometimes if you have a budget, it might not fit with what I'm offering, and that's totally okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I've just found now that I have to just.
And I think,
stick to
like you said, I think it's probably very common actually in the creative industry where things can be very subjective.
Yeah.
And I think that must be really hard. I don't know how I would actually deal with that.
Yeah, it does give me a lot of anxiety because at the end of the day, I know how much I have invested, and it is what I live off. It's my.
And as well, you are, like we were saying, I think we even touched on this in the first episode, when you have a small business, you are you're the owner, yes, but you're also the social media marketer. You're also the accountant. So in your head, you're thinking, I know all of these things that are coming out. Like, I need that money to be coming in.
You only see your product that I come and sell.
Yeah, the gorgeous bloom garland.
Yeah, but not what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
The hours you spend planning, setting up, travelling, back and forth, everything in between. So, it does, in your head, you're thinking, I need to charge this, but am I worthy of this? But you need it, otherwise you're not going to make a living.
No, exactly. And I suppose it is just that sort of making that step over that line of thinking, I'm not worthy enough. And do I, like you said, it makes you second guess yourself. You think, well, am I charging too much? Like, is my product and my services, are they not actually worth what I'm charging? And I think it's sort of just having that realisation that, no, like, have that confidence that what you're doing is good enough.
I think what I find hard as well is some people will be like, oh, well, so-and-so, I've got a quote off them and they're only charging this much.
Yeah.
So then you're like, well, if you go to McDonald's and you get a burger and then you go to a restaurant and you get a burger, they're going to be different prices. It's up to you where you want to shop. If they're offering that, then brilliant. Go for it, kind of thing. And then, I don't know, it's just... I've only just got to this point where I am in this mindset, because for so long I'd be like, oh, they're charging that much. Oh, God, I'll have to... I'll have to drop my prices. But they might not have a unit. They might do it from home. They might not have employees.
They might also have a full-time job on the side. You just don't know what it is. You don't ever know the situation.
Yeah.
100%. Shall we have a look at another message?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so we had someone here that says, I'm an NQT and I have imposter syndrome most days. Google and coffee are my friends.
Yeah.
I bet that is the case for a lot of newly qualified teachers.
Yeah, and even uni students.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we said, this is a really good topic to talk about because it is so relatable in so many different industries.
Yeah.
But I think we even touched on this before we started filming, didn't we? We said that when you're a teacher, especially a newly qualified teacher, and you're going into a school where there's been a teacher that's been there for 25, 30 years, whatever it may be, who obviously is very, has their ways of teaching, and you're coming in with these new ideas, these fresh ideas from university, and trying to apply that to a class.
Yeah.
I can absolutely see why you would be like, I have major imposter syndrome.
And it is very daunting as well, being in charge of all these little people. And then
you've got people that rely on you 100%.
And I couldn't do it.
No.
I really applaud anyone who's like a teacher or a nurse or anything like that.
It must be so hard.
But imagine being a nurse even and having to be in charge of someone's life. Oh my.
And that first day when you like have got your job and you've got all your qualifications, that first day and you're just on the ward, then you're like, okay then, well, this is it. Yeah. What do I do first? Like,
100%. It must be very daunting.
No,
I can't even
absolutely.
remember like when we started uni. I think I just thought I was in some kind of film or something.
Yeah, me too. Like one of them American movies where they walk around with their folders, they head to their locker, like, oh yeah, what lesson have you got?
Were so naive.
Maybe a coffee in hand.
I
thought I was in Lizzie McGuire. Like,
we were just like, let's go to the campus.
Oh, we have to the cafeteria. Like,
jack of potato and cheese, please.
We just literally went for the lunch half the time. So we also had one more message that we were going to mention. So this person has said, I had it so bad at uni. It goes hand in hand with low self-confidence. Know your worth, girls. That is so true. Like we said, uni is prime example.
Yeah.
I think even though, and I know I mentioned this to you again before we started filming tonight, for example, when it's something like uni, everybody has got in there because of, their A-levels or, whatever they've done before. So you were just as worthy as that place on your course or on your degree as the person you're sitting next to in that lecture room. I know something I said to you was, it was when I was first going for my first ever job out of uni. I was so nervous. And someone actually said to me, they were like, the thing is, if you get a job interview, you have actually got the qualifications that job requires. Otherwise, they would have never asked you to go for the interview.
I've never really looked at it like that. But
no, and they literally said that when you're sitting there in that interview, it's at that stage, it's to see whether your personality is right for the job and also whether that job is right for you.
Yeah.
You are already qualified enough, otherwise you wouldn't be sitting in that interview at that table and having that interview.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly, you can apply that exact same thing to uni or whatever you're doing. If you're at a course at college or, anything, you are qualified and you are worthy to be on that course. Otherwise you wouldn't have got on
100%.
in the first place.
Exactly. And you work hard. You've worked hard to get your GCSEs, get your A-levels and get into that.
And you might be a little bit more quiet than some people there, or a little bit more shy, or just have a little bit of less confidence. But don't let that confuse you for not having enough worth and not feeling like you are worthy enough to be there, because that is something completely different.
Every single person is worthy of whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Every person.
Exactly. And you all as well. Everyone has to start somewhere. It links back to us saying about starting this podcast. Like, we are not going to be topping the podcast charts.
No.
Because we are two girls that are just...
Nobody.
Like, literally just trying this out, hoping it works, And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
We've had fun, like, we're really enjoying doing it.
We've had stress.
Yeah, we've had fun. When we get it out, we love it, don't we?
Yeah, it's just that, getting it out there.
Yeah, that's a hard bit. But yeah.
Okay, so we're going to finish with this last message, aren't we?
Yeah.
So this one says, yes, I have had counselling for my imposter syndrome. It is certainly real and one of the worst self-sabotage habits. I was given tasks to complete to figure out what my values were in life, to identify why I felt so guilty and unworthy of my position. Regardless of being told by a professional I suffered with this, though, it did make me feel a lot better, knowing it was a thing and wasn't just pure anxiety or overthinking. It is possible to control for anyone who is struggling. So that is what we mentioned earlier. Like, it is quite good that there's a term, and that then you sort of don't feel like you're alone, and you just feel like, why do I feel like this?
And it's very normal and very common among most people. Most people will experience feeling like they shouldn't be doing something, and you can.
Well, like we said, it's not even just in your job or in your business or in your career. It can literally be in the club that you go to after work. It can be in your spin class.
Yeah.
You can turn up for a spinning class and there's people there that are really, really good at it, that go every single week, that know the instructor, sit on the front row, and you just think, what have I done? Why have I come here? So it happens in everyday life. I think, like we said, the main thing that we've learned is to not confuse that with, not confuse your low confidence, your nerves with the feeling of being unworthy.
Yeah.
Because I think, like this message said, it's pure self-sabotage.
And I think it's good that she's mentioned that she did go and see someone and she did go to counselling.
Yeah.
And that has helped for somebody to say, look, this is normal for you to feel. You have no reason to feel like this, but valid that you do, because
absolutely. And maybe as well, we could even like touch back now on the first message we had where the person said, you know, it's not always a bad thing. If it is something you're suffering with, maybe try in your head and flip it on its head a little bit and use it to your advantage. You are in control. So all of a sudden, if you're thinking, you know, I'm not worthy, so you're putting that little bit of extra time in. You know, you're practicing more, or you know, like you with your bloom garlands, you're so nervous that you keep doing them, and you're perfecting them all the time. Use that to your advantage, and your business is only going to flourish because of how much work you're putting in. Like you said, nobody sees you at 12 o'clock at night or whatever time in the morning going and collecting them and dropping everything off. Use that to your advantage, and you're going to thrive.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for our next little segment, do you call it a segment?
Yeah, we can call it whatever we want.
We're going to carry on the business or work confessions.
Yes.
We had a few in.
We're excited for this point, aren't we?
are.
I'm just going to have to zoom in.
We had a few in, but we just thought this was quite a good one to touch on.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so you're going to take this one away,
I'm going to take this one.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily a business confession, but it was while we were at work, so it fits the bill, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
We'll go for it. So she said, I'm guessing it's a girl, could be a boy, but they said, Hi girls, loving the podcast so far. I have a confession that I would like to share with you. I work as a waitress in a local restaurant, and the other week the barman came over to tell me that a boy I had been serving had left me his number. We had a quick chat and got on well, but, plot twist, he was there with another girl.
Savage.
I haven't texted him as of yet, but I can't help feeling like I want to. Do you think this is wrong? Or should I go for it? At the end of the day, the girl could have just been a family member, or am I clutching at straws? Thanks so much.
Girl, I think you're clutching at straws.
But I mean, would you have the balls? You have to have some serious balls to go and be on a date.
Well,
or
nothing surprises me.
Girlfriend.
Nothing surprises me. Like, I would be fuming. I'd be like, do you know what? I just want to eat my burger, like, not feel like the boy I'm probably on a date with is checking out the waitress. Like, give us a break.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Are people like my issue is I always want to see the positive in everybody.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
you do.
No, he wouldn't do that, surely.
See, I just think I'm not surprised. I would not be surprised.
Should she reply, though? If she sends that message and his poor girlfriend sat at home, they're watching Netflix.
Well, he hasn't messaged her, has he? Is she not saying, if he's left her his number, he's saying, you message me?
Yeah, so what if the girl or boy messages this person and the girlfriend's at home in bed? Ding! Oh, yeah, the waitress.
Yeah.
All right, it's a girl because it says waitress.
For me, if this boy has obviously left his number, and she's not sure, if this boy was bothered enough and interested enough, he'll be back at that restaurant. Like,
I would want proof. I'd want the Instagram. I'd want his mum's number. I'd be ringing his mum. I'm just checking. Does he have a girlfriend or not?
Yeah.
Because
I would want him back at that restaurant every single night. Even if I wasn't at work, I would be like, wanting other people at work to be like, that boy came back today to get your number. Like, he wants to know why you haven't messaged him. He wants this, he wants that. Girls like effort.
Yeah.
Like, don't just slide the barman. What if he was there with a family member? Why on earth would he not just go up to the girl and just say, "Can I just say?"
He might be shy though.
You're the most stunning thing I've ever seen in my life. Here's my number. Please drop me a message.
He might be shy.
No. Personally, I think he's done it on the sly because he probably was on a date. It couldn't even be his girlfriend, not even just on a date. Like, they've probably been together for years.
See, you're seeing the negative, aren't you?
I am.
So what advice are you going to give?
I think wait it out. And if he's truly bothered and interested enough, he'll be back.
If he is the one for you, he'll be back. And I mean, if you've only had a brief conversation, is it worth risking being a home wrecker? And
God, we've got very deep, very quick home.
Well,
we're throwing out home wreckers. This poor girl's thinking, oh God.
I think it's not worth the risk. If this girl's sat at home and she gets a little ding and she's like watching Netflix, snuggled up, like,
and
who's
as
that?
well,
or just
from a business point of view, it's always risky mixing work and these things. And I know some people say, they meet the people they're with now at work, which I'm all for.
Yeah.
But I just think you're there to do your job. Yeah. He's there to have his tea, probably with a girlfriend. Come on. And if not, He'll be back.
And
He'll be back. I believe
if
he'll be
not,
back.
there's plenty more people who'll be there, won't there?
Yeah.
Someone else will come in, I'm sure, and sweep you off your feet and say to your face directly, we won't even have to question if he's got a girlfriend or
Yeah,
not.
so true.
I'm just getting a few like red flags
Yeah,
popping up.
100%. Them red
Major
flags are everywhere.
Yeah. So, girl, we're advising, don't do it.
Don't send the message. bin the napkin or whatever you left it on and move on.
Yeah.
You're there to make your money, girl.
Yeah.
Focus on that.
Focus on that. Focus on your career.
Yeah.
That's our advice.
That's right. It's the Coffee Shop Podcast.
So do we want to finish on that note?
I think so. I think we've talked about imposter syndrome as much as we can.
Yeah.
But we really, really appreciate all of the messages that you sent in
Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already.
Yeah, we'll drop everything in the description box.
Download on Spotify when this episode drops.
Make sure you turn on your notifications.
So much, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And if you've got a confession, business confession, work confession that you want to talk about, don't forget to send it in.
Yeah, and we could be finishing on your confession next episode.
Yeah, so here it is. Here's to the next one.
Thank you.